Podcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. While we are still waiting on folks to sign in for the webinar, I just wanted to take a second to introduce the staff that we have with us tonight. My partner in crime will be Bill. He is one of our financial aid advisors. Bill, do you want to say hi?
Hi, everybody. How are you?
Bill is going to be fielding all of the questions that you submit, and he will be sending them out to the staff on the back end, so our silent staff who are answering all your questions. And those people we have tonight with us, we have both of our senior financial aid advisors, Jen and Leanne. And then we have our additional financial aid advisors. We have Natalie, David, and Andy. And then we also have our service EMU advisors, Kristen and T. So I'd like to thank all of them for being so willing to work a little bit later tonight so that we can present this information to you. My name is Stephanie Petch, and I'm one of the assistant directors in the Office of Financial Aid, and I will be your main presenter. So tonight's format will kind of be like the first one we did. As you saw the title, this is part 2 or number 2 for the FAQs from the OFA. We did do our first webinar probably about 4 or 5, maybe even longer weeks ago, where we had the same format that we're going to do tonight, where we've got some already canned questions with the responses. And these questions are ones that we've been getting fairly regularly into our Office of Financial Aid emails, our regular emails that advisors and myself receive, telephone calls in to our call center. So we want to make sure that we go through those, and we think maybe those can answer several of your questions. However, what's going to be a little bit different about this format compared to last one is we will be stopping from time to time, and if Bill sees a pattern of questions being asked, we're going to address those right away so that you don't have to wait till the end of the webinar, even though we want you to stay till the end. If you've got something to do tonight where maybe you only have a half an hour or 40 minutes, we can answer those questions that are coming in fairly regularly and get those taken care of. So that's good. So that'll be a little different. And then at the end, again, we will focus on all of the other questions that we maybe haven't touched on out loud and go through those. So you can actually submit your questions on your toolbar. There is a questions tab. Whoops. And if you go ahead and click that questions tab, you'll be able to insert your question, and Bill will get those routed out to the advisors. So it is possible that we may not know the answer to your question, which is so unbelievable, right? But if that is the case, we will most likely ask you to follow up with our office or with the particular advisor that is answering your question or trying to answer your question. If we do that, please make sure that you follow up on that. We want to make sure that you have all of your questions answered and that you're prepared to have the most information so that you can make the best decision about your education based on the information that you have. So, we just want to make sure that you do, if we can't answer a question, make sure you follow up with us on the back end. So that being said, I think the attendees have quieted down a little. I will go ahead and get started. It looks like I've advanced my screen here. So here's the first question. Why isn't my state award, like the Michigan Competitive or the Michigan Tip Award, on my offer letter? So this is a question we were getting quite regularly, probably about 3 weeks ago. And the answer to that is we wait to put the award on your account until you show up on the eligibility rosters. And typically we don't get those until early September. So I know usually, I mean, we have to wait for the state of Michigan to give us that information. They have to set their budget. They have to tell us what the award amount is and all of that stuff. And then we will put it on your account. What you need to make sure that you're doing in the meantime, waiting on us to get that award on, is you should go into the state of Michigan website and make sure you update your student profile with your accurate information. So we have the michigan.gov/mystudentaid website listed on here. And make sure that you've listed EMU as the school that you're attending. That way you'll show up on our roster if you're eligible for Michigan Competitive or TIP. Make sure you're just taking care of all of those things so that when we do get it on, we'll get it on your account and it will pay at the next disbursement. Okay, there, okay, sorry. Okay, the next question. What is a FERPA form? Now, we were getting this question a lot from our new students. So if we've got any continuing students on the webinar, you probably already know what a FERPA form is if you've ever had your parent or guardian call in and trying to get any information from us. So you learned about the FERPA form probably the same way the freshmen are learning about it. So the FERPA form is a form that allows us, you have to fill it out. You, the student, have to fill it out, and it allows us to speak to the people that you tell us we can talk to regarding details of your account. So if your parent calls in right now when you're registered for fall classes or for summer classes, and they want to know, well, how much is the bill? If they call in and we don't have a release on file from you saying that we can speak to them, we can't give them any information. So that form has to be filled out by you, and you have to tell us who we can talk to. And over in your toolbar, mine is on the right-hand side of my screen, we actually have a FERPA form out there that you can download. It's under handouts. So if you haven't filled out a FERPA form yet, you can go ahead and download that form, fill it out, and get it sent back into, I believe it goes to the Office of Records and Registration, or the registrar's office. So remember, we have to have that filled out or else we can't speak to anyone, and that includes email. We can't speak to anyone regarding details of your account. Another question that we were getting, and we still continue to get from students, is will there be a CARES grant for the 2021 school year? At this point, we do not know. And if you can recall, the CARES grant was an award that the university awarded to the students enrolled in the summer term to help with the expenses related to the summer semester. So, we knew since we moved to all online, there were some additional costs associated with those classes, and the universities decided to award this CARES grant to most of the students enrolled in summer courses. And this is a fund that the university awarded. This is not from the federal government. So even though it's called the CARES grant, it is not the CARES Act money. So this is from the university, and right now we don't know if we'll award it for an additional semester. So we just kind of have to stay tuned for that. If you are enrolled for the summer term and you have not been awarded the CARES grant yet, a couple things you have to make sure is that you have a FAFSA on file. So if you don't have a 1920 or a 2021 FAFSA on file, you need to make sure that you complete that. Some programs do not qualify for the CARES grant, and those programs are basically all online programs. And some of you may be thinking, well, everything is all online right now. Well, the university has certain programs that are just all online. Like we have an RN to BSN program. We have several programs that they have a special rate for their tuition and fees. So they don't qualify for the CARES grant. If you're in an all online program, you know that you're in an all online program. So there really shouldn't, if you're trying to figure out, well, am I in an all online program or not? If you have to think about it, you probably aren't. So keep that in mind. If you have questions about it, you can always email us or ask us, and we'll let you know if you are or are not. International students also did not qualify for CARES grant funding, this CARES grant award. However, they did have their own award and application process, and that has been completed. So if you submitted an application and you're an international student and did not hear, send us an email and we'll connect you to the proper person. Our email will be at the end of the webinar, and we'll connect you to the proper office and person that you can talk to about that. One thing that I just want to kind of note about having a FAFSA on file, there are several students that actually only did the FAFSA for the summer semester because they wanted to get the CARES grant. But one of the perks that they're also noticing is they didn't realize that they were eligible for a Pell Grant. So they filed the FAFSA not knowing that they were also eligible for a Pell Grant through the federal government. So now they're finding out that, hey, I got this Pell Grant and I got the CARES grant, which both of those funds basically it's free money. You don't have to pay those back. So it's always good, just to fill out the FAFSA to figure out maybe you could be eligible for free money from the federal government and you just don't know it. So this is why we always recommend to all students to fill it out just to see what you qualify for. So while we're on the topic of summer semester, another question that we've been getting emails about is, how do I receive summer financial aid? One, you have to make sure that you have a 1920 FAFSA on file. Two, you have to fill out their summer financial aid application, and that's on our website. It's an online form. All you have to do is you'll put your student ID number and just like a little bit of information, and it gets sent to us, and we process that usually within a week turnaround. Our advisors who are on the, answering all your questions on the back end of this webinar, they process summer applications, and they've been doing them rapidly. So there shouldn't be a lot of turnaround time. The only thing is that you need to make sure that you're enrolled at least half time to be considered for federal loans. So if you want to be considered for federal loans, you have to make sure as an undergraduate, you're enrolled in at least 6 credit hours. And a graduate, you have to be enrolled at least 4 credit hours, and that's considered half-time status. Okay, Bill, before we go on to PLUS loan, have you received any patterns of questions out there, especially regarding any type of summer awarding or CARES grant awarding?
No, nothing regarding that yet. But there's just been kind of a mixed bag of things, and I've been routing them out to advisors. But there are a couple good ones that I think would be beneficial for everyone if we ask them. But we'll kind of hold off on those for just a moment.
Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to kind of move along to the Parent Plus loan and some loan questions that we've been getting through email and telephone calls. So the first one is, how does my parent apply for the PLUS loan? So please remember that you were awarded in your financial aid offer. You probably have, if you're a dependent student, you may have subsidized direct loan. You probably have unsubsidized direct loan, possibly a scholarship or a grant, but most likely a lot of dependent students have an offer on their account for a direct PLUS loan. And the PLUS loan is a loan that the parent has to borrow. It is in their name, and they are borrowing it for you. So there's usually a lot of questions about this process, the PLUS loan process. So the first thing that you have to do if your parent is wanting to apply for the PLUS loan is you, the student, have to go in through your My.eMish account and accept the award. So, and I have another slide to show how we accept the awards, but you have to go in and accept the award. And then your parent is going to log into the studentaid.gov website. They're going to use the same login that they used to fill out your FAFSA. The parent completes the PLUS loan pre-application and they use your information as the student. So the parent is going to be the borrower and you are going to be listed as the student. And then the parent will find out right away whether they're approved, denied, or if they want to continue on with an endorser or what is also called a co-borrower. If they are approved and they want to borrow the loan, they have to complete the master promissory note. And then that information gets sent to EMU for us to process. So during our peak times, processing can take up to 2 to 3 weeks. So just keep that in mind that the closer we get to the beginning of the school year, September, end of August, the more students we have who think, oh my gosh, I forgot to do the PLUS loan. I need to do that right now before school starts. We can still process it even after school starts, but just know that if your parent does the application on Monday and gets approved, it's probably not going to be processed by us on Tuesday. It's going to take a little bit of time for us to get through all of the people who have applied and, kind of like last minute. Your parent can apply for the PLUS loan right now. So they can apply for the PLUS loan for the 2021 school year right now through the studentaid.gov website. Okay, so that's if they're approved. If your parent is denied, we are also notified. So if your parent is denied, we cannot process the Parent PLUS loan that they applied for. However, we can award you, the student, an additional unsubsidized loan to your account. And this is only if the parent is denied, okay? It's not if the parent doesn't want to accept it. They have to be denied, and then we can award you an additional unsubsidized loan. That amount is going to depend on your grade level. So freshman, sophomore, we can award you $4,000. Junior, senior, we can award you $5,000 additional for the year. So keep that in mind. If your parent was applying for a $10,000 loan, we can't give you an additional unsub for $10,000. It's going to be based on your grade level. We will put that on your account automatically in an offered status, and then you have to go in and accept the award once you see it on your account. And again, this is only if your parent is denied. So they do have to apply and they have to be denied.
Steph, can I jump in for 1 second just to do a little housekeeping? I have hopefully our students are hearing everything okay. I have one student who's asking, or who says she can't hear anything. Any recommendations on troubleshooting for that?
I would probably log back out and log back in.
Okay.
And see if that helps.
Good.
And make sure she hasn't, touched anything on the audio settings. Make sure she uses computer audio.
Okay.
I'm not a tech person, but hopefully that works.
And one of the advisors just notified me that his question box went away. He was in the middle of answering a question for a student, and the box went away. I don't know if that's maybe because the student dropped out or stepped out or something, but just know that wasn't intentional if you didn't get an answer. So.
Well, it depends on the advisor, right? Maybe it was intentional. I'm just joking.
It usually does. I was gonna say that too, but just kidding, guys. These are great questions, by the way. We are getting a plethora of really good questions here, Steph. So I'll let you keep going, and I'll save a couple questions for a little bit later.
Okay. Thanks. So hopefully logging out and logging back in will fix the one person's issues, and hopefully the one whose question box disappeared, hopefully we'll get you an answer by time the end comes along, or maybe it's one of your questions are in the slideshow already. But anyways, back to the PLUS tips. So we have one staff member who processes all the PLUS loans in our office. So before this webinar, I asked her, if there was anything that she wanted to make sure that I added. And she just said, to remind students to make sure that you're applying for the correct year, because we are in summer term and summer is still considered 1920 year. The 1920 and the 2021 PLUS loan applications are both out there right now. So if you're applying for a PLUS loan for the summer term, they want to be applying for the 1920. If you're applying for the upcoming fall and winter term, it's the 2021 year. And I know that I said earlier that processing time around peak takes 2 to 3 weeks. And I said, apply now. And I want you to do that. But also just note that Shillian, who processes all of our PLUS loans, she can't start processing the 2021 applications until July, because we have some systems updates that need to be put in to Banner, and she can't process anything for the 2021 year until those are done, and that should be early July, at least by early July. But she will get started as soon as she can, and she processes everything in date order. So if you apply now, she will look at the date that the pre-application was approved and get that on there and process it right away. So just know that go ahead and do it now, but she can't start really processing until July. Okay, another question that we get is, this is kind of a jump from PLUS loans and loans to verification, but a lot of times students ask us, what is verification? Like, why did I get selected for verification, and what is that about? So I think the easiest way to tell you is that verification is a mandatory process that the Department of Ed makes us complete on files. Now, some files get selected for verification and some don't. And I can't tell you why a file gets selected and why a file doesn't, because the federal government, they don't tell us. So they tell us which files have been selected for verification, and they don't tell us why. All we know is that we have to now complete verification on the file. And what that really means is that we just have to check and make sure that the information that you put on the FAFSA matches the information that you're submitting into our office. So a lot of times during verification, we're going to ask for a tax return or a W-2 form or a dependent verification worksheet, an independent verification worksheet. Those are some of the common forms that we ask for. And we just make sure that the information, like the number of people you listed in the household and in college on the form matches what you put on the FAFSA. So that's what the process of verification is. And all I can tell you about that is that if we are asking you to submit documentation, the sooner you submit it, the better, because some students awards change after the verification process. So if we have to make changes on the account, if something doesn't match, we have to change it and send that correction into the federal government, and that change could affect your awards. So we want to make sure that you know how much financial aid you have, when that first bill comes. So if you're selected for verification, we want you to get those documents into us as soon and as fast as possible. One thing that helps with the verification process is, while you're completing your FAFSA, if you get the suggestion or the ability to transfer your income information from the IRS database retrieval system, that if that works for you, absolutely do it. Because if we have that information transferred, we don't have to have a tax return or a tax transcript from you. And it just cuts down on the information that you have to submit. So remember, if you are selected for verification, get documents in as soon as you can. And then on top of that, how do I know if I have verification, if I have requirements out there? So how do I view and complete Office of Financial Aid requirements? To check your outstanding requirements, you have to go into your my.emish account and you follow the steps below. So you click on the student tab, financial aid, eligibility, select the year. So for fall, it would be the 2021 year, and then the student requirements. And when you do that, if there's a form that we're requesting, there's always usually a link, because a lot of our forms are online now. So they're completed online. You don't print them out on paper and then mail them into our office. You actually just submit them online, or your portion online. And if you're a dependent student, then your parent has to submit their portion after you complete yours. So we have the link and everything right there, what we're asking for. So make sure that you're checking your requirements to see if we're asking you to submit anything into our office. And then finally, I think this is the last one before we see if there are any other questions out there that I need to answer right away. How do I accept my loans? Again, this is through your my.emish account, and you log in and you follow the steps here. And just so you know, I'm not going to read those. I mean, you guys can read them. But all of this information is also listed on our financial aid website. So if you go to emish.edu/finaid, FINAID, and you click on, I think it's loans, there'll be step-by-step directions, and they'll tell you exactly what you need to click. That way you don't have to scurry and write all of this stuff down, or if you forget, it's out there on our website. But if you do forget, you can always email us and we'll send you the directions. I think, yeah, Bill, is there anything that needs to be taken care of before I go on to, I think, scholarships and billing?
Not necessarily. There were a couple questions about billing. Let me just ask these questions, and if I'm getting ahead of you, I apologize. But this was a good one. One student asked, I've chosen to not live in the dorms for my second year, but on my financial aid page, it says that my residence hall award is still accepted. Do I need to let anyone know that I'll be living off campus? I also have EFOS scholarship, which I know doesn't require students to live on campus. Would this affect my scholarship by canceling the resident hall? Sorry, guys. I have this, the way this widget works, it like kind of compacts everything, and it's really hard to read. But that's kind of the gist of her question, is like, what if she decides she doesn't want to live in the residence halls?
Oh, okay. And that's not a problem, especially right now. There are, a lot of people who are questioning, what they want to do for the fall and winter terms. So if you have a residence hall award, and Billy, you can kind of help me out on this too, but if you have a residence hall award and you know for sure that you will not be living in the residence halls, all you have to do is just really contact us, and you can do it in an email. Probably send us an email from your My Emish account, and just let us know, and we can take care of that. You will not lose your EFOS award if you cancel your housing. If you don't want to live in housing, you can still get that award if you're living with your parent or off campus. I can't remember what else was on that question, Bill.
I think that was pretty much it. But just keep in mind, everyone, that everyone who files a FAFSA is assigned a cost of attendance. That's based on your projected living arrangements while you're in school, either be on campus, off campus, living with your parents. Everyone has a housing component to their cost of attendance. A lot of people will see that they'll see their budget or cost of attendance and say, wait, I'm not living on campus. Well, you could be commuting or living in an apartment off campus. You still have that. So that can be confusing to some students. So I just wanted to kind of clarify that too as well. Here's another good question, Steph, and it's kind of it's good with everything going on right now. Some colleges in Michigan are starting in August. What is the estimated start date for EMU's fall semester? Has it changed?
Okay, yeah, great question. At this point, we have not changed. And I will just say, we have not changed, and there is a committee that is working on fall startup. And there are some obstacles that we have, that our university would have, maybe compared to other universities. We have a summer term that goes until, what was it, August 20th or something like that? I can't remember.
21st, I think.
Yeah, August 21st. And according to federal regulations with financial aid, we can't overlap our fall term with our summer term. So, the university is looking into all options. And as of right now, as an employee of the university, we have not been told that our start time is any different than what was originally planned. So until we hear anything different, it would be the normal start date in September, and I do not know what date that is. Sorry. Do you know what date we're supposed to start in September?
I thought it was. I think it's in August, end of August, isn't it?
It is? Okay. Well, let's get that
I think
before.
it's the 31st of August is when the fall semester begins. I believe, because it's like 10 days after the end of the summer semester. So
Okay, well, let's find out for
August
sure.
August 31st, one of my advisors peeped in. So
Okay.
not like I
Okay.
trust that one.
So as
I'm just kidding.
listen, we've had a lot of things going on with dates and regulations in financial aid these last 3 months. The start of fall term has totally slipped my mind. But as of right now, we haven't heard anything different. It's a great question, and I cannot give you a positive, answer on it. But you will probably find out the same time that we find out if anything changes. But right now, I haven't heard anything, so plan on the original start time.
Okay. And then one more stuff, and I'll let you kind of get back to what you're doing. One student asked, are freshmen going to be getting the $500? I think that was mentioned on the news due to COVID. I think you kind of already mentioned it, but that seems to be a popular question about I believe, the CARES grant.
Okay, yeah, so if it's the summer award, then it would be the CARES grant. If it's the fall award, they could be talking about the Game Above award, which we're gonna cover here in just a couple minutes. So I'll touch on that when we come to that slide.
Okay.
But if it's particularly for the summer term, I've already gone over that answer. So summer was CARES grant. We don't know if CARES grant will be available to students for the fall or winter term. So, and then we'll go over Game Above award in just a couple minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and move on to our next group of questions. What should I do if I have a scholarship check, like from an outside agency that I have at home with me, and I can't deliver it to the university because we're not in office? So if you have a scholarship check through an outside agency, like if you were awarded a scholarship from your high school or your boosters club or Pepsi Cola or anything like an outside agency, not the university, and the check is addressed to you and to EMU, you should mail that into the university, and you can mail it to the address right here on the screen, Office of Financial Aid, 403 Pierce Hall, Ypsilanti, Michigan, 48197. You can do that, or you can wait until we come back to campus, and you can do it that way as well. We don't have a date that we're officially returning to campus yet, so it might be in your best bet to mail it in if, hopefully you're comfortable doing that. Just a side note, we do have to take outside scholarships into consideration when we award you financial aid. So if you're a freshman and you have a subsidized loan, an unsubsidized loan, and a plus loan, and some university scholarships, and you send us a check for $3,000, it's a very good possibility that we're going to have to adjust one of your loans. We have to look at the criteria of the scholarship. Sometimes scholarships say that they can only apply to tuition and fees. Sometimes they say they can apply to room and board, tuition and fees. They can apply to anything. So just know that when you do send us a scholarship check, we do have to, look at it and take it into consideration with your entire financial aid package. Okay, so I mentioned when Bill was talking about the $500 award, I had mentioned the Game Above award. We were getting a lot of questions about how freshmen are going to be receiving the Game Above award. And if you haven't heard of this and you're a freshman, basically all incoming freshmen are going to be awarded $400 from Game Above. We are still working out the details of the award with Game Above. So we think that it's just going to be applied to your account. It's not really going to go through the financial aid office. So the last time I heard, it does not count against your financial aid package. So keep that in mind. I think it's going to go directly through Student Business Services. And that's all we pretty much know about it right now. We're still working with Game Above to figure out what the intent of the award is and how they want students to use it. And then once we figure that out, then we'll determine how the students are going to get their award. But again, this is for all incoming freshmen. And if you've not heard about it, go to Eastern's, emish.edu, type in Game Above, and you can read all about the donors and the people who, the concept behind this award. And definitely, the university is definitely thankful to the Game Above crew for their donation to the university and what they are doing to help all of our students incoming, and they gave an award to all of our graduating seniors. So that was nice. Can I use the Game Above award to purchase books? Well, that's a tricky question because it could be maybe, it could be yes, and it could be no. But what I can tell you about books is that we like to prepare every student, whether you're an incoming freshman, transfer, if you're a repeat student, we like to tell you to be prepared to purchase books on your own. Do not count on your financial aid refund. Do not count on a scholarship refund. Do not count on the Game Above award to be refunded to you so that you can purchase your books. You really need to come to campus and be prepared to purchase books before classes start and with your own funding. Okay, if you know you're getting a financial aid refund, maybe then once you get that refund, you can reimburse yourself or pay off your credit card bill that you use to purchase the books. But we can't say this enough, particularly to freshman students. You need to be prepared to purchase books on your own. Even though we have it counted into the financial aid budget, really anything could happen. There could be a delay on your refund. There could be a delay with your financial aid paying. We just want you to start the semester in the best possible way. And that would be purchasing your books prior, just in case something happens. And if it comes down to, yes, you can use the Game Above award to purchase books and we figure that out, well, then that's great. So then you've got this money that you've saved to purchase your books. You can use that for additional supplies or save it for next semester when the Game Above award isn't going to be there. We just can't say it enough because we have time after time students who are in the second week of the term and still haven't purchased their books because their financial aid refund has been delayed, or they haven't completed entrance counseling, or something like that. So I really, really want to stress that everyone needs to be prepared to purchase books on their own. Okay, so now we're going to go into billing information. The question that the question of the hour is, when will I receive my fall bill? I know everyone is getting anxious and they want to know how much this semester is going to cost. That first fall bill is going to be emailed to the students on July 9th, 2020. So be prepared, students, for that email. The way billing works, if you're a new student, it will be sent to the student's EMISH email address. So you need to make sure that you're reviewing, looking, reading all of your emails in your EMISH account, and particularly be prepared for your billing to come on July 9th. A lot of times, a lot of questions that we're getting is, how do I read my bill? I have a sample of kind of what the bill looks like on our next slide, but I do want to just kind of go over this information a little bit before I get to the billing part. So to view your bill, you go to the ebill.emish.edu. Once you get to that page, you're going to have to log in with your student credentials, and then you're going to see the screen that I have on the next slide. You do receive weekly statements at that e-bill. You can sign up for payment plans, view all of your accurate information, real-time data. You can view a lot on that site. But also, a lot of times people may be confused with what they're looking at. So Student Business Services is actually in charge of billing at the university. The financial aid office is not, but because we are so tied to each other, we know a lot about the bill. But if you want information on the bill and how to read the bill after this webinar, you can go to Student Business Services website, which is emish.edu/SBS, Student Business Services. And if you click on the Billing and Payments tab, you will get some information, basically printouts of the bill and information numbered. So they tell you exactly what this means and this means and this means. It's a lot of great information on their website. And also on that SBS website, there's the tuition and fees estimator. They have a breakdown of what the fees are. They have a lot of good information on their website because it is the billing department. They have the bill due dates already listed out there for the fall term. So if you're curious, just go to their website at, like I said, emish.edu SBS. That's their website. To view the bill, go to ebill.emish.edu. And once you go to the bill, once you get to the bill, I just want to focus on this slide a little bit so people understand what they're looking at. And we're also going to talk about some of the information on this page. This slide was just given to me a couple days ago, Friday, by Student Business Services. So this is when you log into the e-bill, this is what you're going to see. So as you can see on the right-hand side of the page, there's a box called announcements. There's, next payment is due, that gives you the date. There's also going to be important information under there. So make sure that when you get your bill, you're actually reading the stuff in the announcements box. And that can, explain some information on the actual page that we're looking at. If we move a little bit over and see the student account box where it says balance, estimated financial aid, balance, including estimated financial aid, this is real-time data. So once your bill comes out, the balance is going to be what the bill shows without any type of financial aid included. So that's a real-time balance. So if once you receive your bill and then you go back into your account and maybe adjust classes and then go back into your bill, that balance will be what it really is right now. And then estimated financial aid, particularly for that first bill, if you have financial aid and everything is ready on your account, like you were selected for verification, you turned in all your docs, we reviewed them, you have your master promissory note and your entrance counseling done. If everything is done, your estimated financial aid will show up as whatever amount, that if we paid the bill that day, this is how much financial aid would pay. So if you're a financial aid recipient and you get your bill and you don't have anything in that line there, estimated financial aid, or if you don't have the amount that you thought you would have in financial aid, then there could be a problem. So you need to log into your EMISH account, go view your outstanding requirements and see if we're asking for something, see if you've completed, your loan requirements, to make sure that you have everything done and everything is set before that bill is due. So you take your balance minus the estimated financial aid, and then you get, a new balance with your financial aid out. So if your balance is $12,000 and you've got $6,000 coming in financial aid, then you know that you've got $6,000 that you need to figure out how to pay for the fall semester. And right underneath that, if you're already set up on a payment plan, it will show your payment plan information in that box. If you're not set up on a payment plan, if you go to the top part of this picture, the green bar, you can see where it says payment plans. If you click on the payment plans information, you can get signed up right there with a payment plan for that remaining $6,000. So Eastern does have numerous payment plan options available to students, especially if you get signed up before that first bill due date. Like we have a 5-month, I think we have a 5-month and a 4-month and a 3-month payment plan. But make sure that if you want to get on a payment plan, you click on that link and get signed up. So then below that, if you have any scheduled payments, if you are on a payment plan and you have any scheduled payments that are coming up, it will show it there. And then below the scheduled payments, you have statements. So how I like to relate this, every bill you get is a statement. So it's a static, so like a credit card payment. You get a credit card payment and it shows what you charged on your credit card up to a certain date. Well, that's exactly what a statement is. So if you look at your statement, it could be different than what your actual balance is. So that sometimes that confuses people, but if you just kind of relate it to a credit card bill, you can continue to charge things on your credit card. If you haven't maxed it out, you can continue to charge things on your credit card even after you get your statement. So what I would do is I would probably always look at the top part to see your actual time balance. And then if we move farthest to the right, you'll see my profile setup. And the first thing I want to talk about, and really the only thing I want to talk about in this box, is what they have right there, the very top one, which is called an authorized user. Like I mentioned before, when the bill comes out in July, it will only be sent to the EMU student. So if you, the student, are not paying your bill, if your parent is paying your bill, or you have a guardian, or if you have a grandparent that's, being generous and paying your bill for you, you have to set them up as an authorized user. So you click on that information, authorized user, you put their email address, and then every time you get a statement, they're also going to get a statement. And then they'll be able to log in to the eBill site under themselves to see your information. They can make a payment to your account. If you don't do that, they will never be able to see your information. So you're going to have to share that with them. And I know that's very frustrating for parents if they're paying the bill and they can't see the bill. Particularly also if we don't have a FERPA on file that we can give them the account balance. So my suggestion is if you've got someone paying your bill for you, you need to get them set up on that authorized user tab immediately. You should be able to go in right now and do it. Of course, you don't have a bill yet, but you can go in and set them up as an authorized user. So that's kind of what the bill is. And I know a lot of people are anxious to see their bill and, to know if everything is being paid for, if they have to get on a payment plan, how much they're going to have to pay. You will get those answers soon, just not today. But this kind of gives you an idea of what to look for when you are able to log in to the e-bill after that first statement is out there. So for the first bill, you need to pay close attention to the balance, estimated financial aid, and then kind of your leftover balance. Okay. And we've already talked about this. Can someone else see my bill, like my parent, my spouse, etc., grandparent, whomever is paying? You guys know I've made that pretty clear. You have to set them up as an authorized user. So we'll go.
Okay, great.
I
think, Steph, before we get into the next one, do you want to field a couple more questions for us?
Sure.
Okay. Or do you need to do something? Yeah, that's exactly one of the questions. On the next slide, a student asked, my father lost his job due to COVID-19 related issues, and we're now a single income family. Is there a way that we can update the FAFSA or be eligible for additional financial aid? It looks like, Steph, you're just about getting ready to get into that, so we'll just I just wanted to make sure that the student knew that I was looking at his question and getting that out there. And then the next one that I have, and this is a good one. I received a work study award for the summer, but due to the campus being closed, there have not been student positions available to apply for. At this point, even if on-campus positions were to start opening up, she basically goes on to say, is there any way, or let's see. And again, I'm reading like in a little 3 centimeter wide column.
I kind of feel I know where the question is going.
Yeah, is it going to be?
And you can tell me.
Can it be converted to a grant if we can't earn our work study funds? Is essentially.
Yep. So yeah. So right now, we have not done that to any students. If you call our office or email our office, we can check to see if you have loan eligibility instead of, if work study was taking up some space in your financial aid award. Maybe if we take the work study away, you would qualify for some additional loan. But right now, we've got to look at our funding levels and funding issues with federal work study, replacing federal work study with anything. So right now, the answer to that is no, we have not replaced any federal work study with anything like a supplemental educational opportunity grant or anything. We are still working on the details of that. And even if it is a possibility, which we have to look at our SEOG funding levels, it would not be a dollar for dollar replacement. So at this point, I think it's just safe for you to assume or for you to plan on you're not going to be able to use your federal work study and you're not going to get any additional money in place of it. And when we look at the funding levels and get everything situated, if we are able to award students some additional grant, then we will. But at this time, we have not decided on that and we have not awarded anyone anything additional.
Great.
You think that's where that was going, Bill?
Yeah, I think that sounds great. Okay. I just wanted to comment, by the way, that these questions are fantastic, guys. They've been plentiful, and hopefully you're getting most of them answered with our advising staff. One more, Steph, and then I'll let you get back to the tail end of the presentation. A student asked, July 18th was supposed to be my on-campus orientation. Will I still be able to come to campus for it?
I would say that you need to reach out to the, who handles orientation? Is it Campus Life or is it admissions? Help me here, Bill. Who is it?
Sorry, I was going through some questions again, multitasking with this. I believe it's admissions who handles campus visits.
So what I would say is reach out to the admissions office first. I mean, at this point, we are not doing anything on campus. If something changes, possibly you could come to campus for a fast track day or something like that. But I would suggest that you reach out to admissions or your
Or
admissions
campus. I
counselor.
think it might. Now I'm thinking that it might be campus life stuff. Again, I don't mean to say that's not necessarily our area. And with this COVID thing, everything's been changing. So I know that there are virtual campus visits and stuff like that available. But I would start with admissions, and if anything, they can direct you to the right office if it is indeed campus life. So.
Yeah. Yep, that's what I would do.
But I just thought that was a timely question that I wanted to get out.
Yeah, that's a really good question.
So,
It's a really good question.
I think that's all I have for now. There was a student who just asked, does this webinar go over summer 2020 FAFSA questions? Not exactly sure what the nature of that question is, but we touched briefly on summer. But if you have any specific questions, then you can contact our office and we'll be glad to help you out on that. And then one last question. I know I said one last question about 3 questions ago, but one student asked, she left the room, but she did ask a good question. Are we going to have another one of these Q&A sessions closer to the start of the fall semester?
Good question. It will be, we'll consider it if we have the demand for it. I don't really know how many students we have in that we've had in the webinar so far, but if we have the demand for it, absolutely. But these will also be, we already have the first webinar posted out on our website, and then we'll probably also get this one posted out on the website for people to listen to the recording. But it depends on if there's a need. If there's a need, we'll absolutely do it for you, for the students. If not, then no. Or if our boss tells us, yeah, we're doing it, then we will.
I think what's nice to see, Steph, is that we pretty much retained like all of our attendees. Like we're at 68. I think we started at a little over 70. So, and we had 150 people register. So I kind of think there's a demand for it. And as we get closer to fall, I'm thinking that it's probably going to be even in more demand. So, but yeah,
Okay.
just and we'll make sure and post and send out emails and everything if we are hosting another one. Maybe you want your parents to come in and listen in on this. But also, I'm not sure if Steph mentioned this, but we're going to have a recording of this particular session available on our website, and we'll be able to we'll link to it so that you can revisit it later at your convenience when maybe you have more time or something like that. So I'll let you get back to it, Steph. I'm going to try to give out some more of these questions to our advisors.
Okay, no, and I think we're almost done. So for those of you sticking around, just stick around just a little bit more and we'll be done here probably within the next 5 minutes. So like Bill mentioned, there was a student who sent a question in on, their family's income has changed because of COVID. A parent has lost a job. Is there anything that we can do? Absolutely. If your family income has changed from when you filed the FAFSA, because remember, the FAFSA information is 2 years old. So if your information has changed significantly, and significantly would be at least 20%, like, if it's your parent, their income has changed a couple $1,000s, it might not have a big effect on your financial aid awards, but we have a process called a special circumstance appeal. The form is available on our website under the online forms link, and we can absolutely take your current financial situation and use that to package you with new financial aid for the 2021 year. Just a side note, if you are already a 0 EFC, so if you filed your FAFSA and your EFC is 0, you don't need to do a special circumstance form because we can't make your EFC any lower. The point of a special circumstance form is so that we can adjust your expected family contribution, and maybe we can get it low enough to allow you to be eligible for a Pell Grant, or to allow you to have become eligible for a subsidized direct loan instead of an unsubsidized direct loan. However, if you are a 0 EFC and you do have, income issues or if something has changed, you can absolutely reach out to our office and let us know and see if there's anything that we have that maybe you weren't packaged with originally. If we have work study, things like that. So if you have, if you're a zero EFC and you still have a special circumstance, you can reach out to our office. But for those of you that, and we know we have a lot of students who have been affected by this and families that have been affected by this. So if your income has changed, go to our website, check out the special circumstance form. If you still have questions, please, please, please email us your questions and we will walk you through that process. What do I need to do if I've decided to change schools? So maybe you were going to go to Grand Valley and now you've decided you're going to go to Eastern. It's closer, you can commute, for the first semester, the first year, or you just like EMU better. What do you need to do? The first thing you need to do is just make sure that you're admitted into the new school first. And of course, if you were going to Eastern and maybe now because of money issues, you are going to go to Washtenaw, that's fine. But what do you need to do? You need to make sure that you're first admitted into that new school. If you're a financial aid recipient and you want to be considered for financial aid at your new school, you need to make sure that you have the 2021 FAFSA on file and you need to add them onto you need to add their school code onto your FAFSA. So if you are coming to Eastern from another school, you go into your FAFSA and that final tab where it says, school choices, add Eastern to it, and then we'll get your FAFSA information. If you are going to Washtenaw, go into your FAFSA, put Washtenaw school code, and get the information sent to Washtenaw. Now, once you do that, it will take probably about 2 to 4 weeks for everything to process. So make sure that you follow up with the new school. Also, if you are currently at Eastern and you are registered for fall classes, and now you have decided that maybe another school works better for you due to financial challenges, if you're already registered for classes, you have to let us know that you are not attending, that you will not be attending Eastern. The classes will not just fall off of your account because you don't attend. You have to send an email. You can send it to the admissions office, to your admissions counselor that you've been in touch with. You can send it to financial aid, records and registration, but you need to let someone know, because if you don't, you will still be charged for those classes even though you don't attend them. You registered for them and never attended, and you will still be charged for those classes. So if there's any question about the process, make sure you reach out to someone. Let's see what else. I'm having trouble. Oh, okay. I think this might be the last question. So I've never applied for financial aid, but now due to COVID and different financial situations, I have to. So how do I start the process? Okay, first of all, we want you to know that it is not too late to start filing for financial aid for the 2021 school year. Visit studentaid.gov to submit your financial aid application. You will have to create an FSA ID, which is a username and password. You submit the application. You should receive a confirmation within 5 days from the Department of Ed. The FAFSA information will be sent electronically to our school, and we'll get you packaged with financial aid and notify you via email. Now, this seems like a really quick process, but in all, it could take about a month. So if you have never applied for financial aid and that's something that you have to do right now, I would get started on the process right now, just so that everything is set before the fall semester begins. And I think just some final reminders that to all students, make sure you're checking your EMISH email account regularly. Make sure you're reading emails from, I think, the president sends regular updates about what's happening on campus and what the university is doing. And you may get your answer about when fall term is going to be starting in those emails. Make sure that you're following the directions on your aid offer letter. So if you've accepted your direct loans, make sure that you're completing entrance counseling and the master promissory note. I did reach out to the housing, university housing, and they just want to make sure that students make sure you're reviewing housing deadlines. I believe there is a housing deadline coming up on June 21st. But to be certain, make sure you're reading emails from them. Go out to their website to see if there's something out there that you need to do by a deadline. And then they also recommend that to make sure and to remind students to set up that duo authentication process. I believe that's needed if you register for housing. And I think, Bill, is it needed to go view the bill too?
What's that?
Duo. Do students need to be signed up for Duo to view the
I
bill?
believe you do. I think Duo's kind of been integrated into all the platforms. So I would say
Yeah,
yes,
so
but not 100%. It's just another level of security. I would hope that they would have something like that.
yeah, so what Duo is basically every time we as staff members log into the computer system, into Banner, we get a push sent to our cell phone that we have to answer. Like, yes, this is me trying to log in to the account. And then you have to accept it, and then it logs into your account. So make sure that you have that Duo authentication set up. Make sure that you're aware of deadlines. There is a lot of important housing information that's coming out right now, so make sure you are reading it and responding. If you want to be considered for single rooms or whatever, make sure you're reading that information. And then this final page, while Bill, I'm going to leave this up here while Bill goes through some more questions. Just emails on where to contact us and where to contact Student Business Services. If you have any questions about billing, payment plans, game above, we'll leave that up here. While Bill, you can go ahead and throw some questions out that you've been getting that you need to get off your chest.
Yeah, let me get that off my chest. No, actually, we kind of been, the questions have been tapering off just a tad since we last answered some, but there were a couple good ones in here. One that I think I'll ask out loud. Since everyone is working remotely at the moment, do you have any idea when we'll be able to call financial aid and register? Thank you. That was a question.
Oh,
I think Jennifer answered that specific question to that student, but I thought maybe I'd throw that out there for the group.
absolutely. So just because we are working remotely doesn't mean you can't contact us via telephone. We have people answering our phones during normal business hours. What is that, 9 to 5? I forget, 8 to 5. Forget now that I'm working from home what normal business hours are. 8 to 5, they will answer Monday through Friday. You can call in the 734-487-0455 and your questions will get answered. Now, just recently we were having some trouble with the phone lines, but I think that has been situated. But normally, yeah, you can call in. We have been answering that line has been being answered since we've left campus. There's been no delay or anything, so you can always contact us. And then if you want to get in touch with someone from the registrar's office, you will need to send them an email, just like if you wanted to get in touch with someone in a department office besides financial aid. Send them an email, and they are checking their emails and answering students via email. I don't know off the top of my head what the registrar's email is, like if you want to register or something like that. So you'll have to look that up through the emich.edu website.
Okay. All right, great. Another one. One student asked, which I also thought this would be useful for everybody, where do I go to do the entrance counseling and master promissory note for my loan? I've never heard about this before.
Oh, okay. So if you were a student and you're borrowing your either the direct unsubsidized or direct subsidized loan, you should actually have a link to those requirements through your EMISH requirements page. But Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, they can go out to studentaid.gov.
That's right.
And up towards the top of the page, one of the drop-down menus will be complete entrance counseling, complete master promissory note.
Yeah.
That's correct, right?
Yeah, and studentaid.gov is kind of the catch-all website for that's where parents will go to complete their PLUS loan application. It's where they'll sign in with their username, their FSA ID username and password. So it's kind of a catch-all for all of those little tasks you guys have to do. So just write that down, studentaid.gov. Maybe go visit that after the webinar to kind of get familiar with it. But they put a lot of time in making that a lot more user-friendly over the years. So that should be good for you. And I think I just want to, I don't have any more questions, Steph. I think but I do maybe want to make one comment about housing charges on the first e-bill. Could it be possible that those charges might not be on the first bill because of students making changes from double to single rooms or something like that? I just wanted to make sure that students don't, they're not going to freak out when they may not see housing charges on their first bill.
Yeah, so I did reach out to housing with that question because we heard that that might be an issue, but their response is they are absolutely going to try and get any type of switch on the first bill. However, you as a student need to really look at your bill and make sure that all of your charges are out there. If when that bill first comes out, and you don't see your housing charges on there, then you need to either follow up with housing and check with them to see when those amounts are going to be on there and go from there. Also, please note that sometimes in some rare situations, financial aid has paid to accounts before housing charges have been applied. So it could be possible that your financial aid could apply to your account and you could possibly get a fairly large refund, and then your housing charges get applied to your bill. And then you're going to owe those housing charges. So technically you need to use that refund to pay for those housing charges. But because of this last minute switch with, double to single rooms, it is possible. They are going to try everything within them to get the housing charges on the bill. So just make sure you're looking at it. Just make sure you're looking at it when it does come out. I guess that's all I could really say about it. They're going to try their best to get all the charges out there.
Good deal.
Period.
I think that pretty much wraps up all the questions that were left unanswered. Again, I just like to remind students that you can always reach out to us. If you want like a more of a one-on-one kind of a session with an advisor, you can email financial_aid@emish.edu, and one of our advisors will be happy to kind of get with you and go through the questions that you have that we weren't able to cover in this format. So just be aware of that.
Yeah, and just to kind of wrap up, I do want everyone that is still hanging out here with us, I do want you to know that we are absolutely here for you to answer any question that you have. All you have to do is send us an email or give us a call, and we will definitely get back with you. We are excited to be able to come back to campus whenever that time may be. But until then, we want to make sure that you have your questions answered and that you are fully prepared for the fall semester, particularly our new students. Our returning students, you kind of know how this works. You kind of know how the billing and financial aid all works. But there's a lot of things up in the air still, a lot of unknowns. And we want to make sure that all of our students, even the returning students, are getting all of their questions answered. And hopefully with those answers, we can relieve some of that stress that you're feeling or possibly feeling, or the anxiety that you're possibly feeling about what's going on. But you do have to reach out to us or else we won't be able to help you. There are a lot of students who just don't know who to reach out to or who they're supposed to contact. But the best bet is any question that you have, send us an email. If our office doesn't handle it, we will tell you who to contact. And we will put you in touch with the correct office to make sure that everything, you're getting what you need. And to kind of just wrap it up from there, make sure again that you're reading your emails. Hopefully we'll be back to campus soon and you can come visit us. Whenever that may be, and take care, and so that you're ready for fall semester, I guess. Anything else, Bill, that you want to add?
No, just hope everyone stays safe out there, and yeah, just contact us if you have any more questions. And just a reminder that this is being recorded, and we're going to host it on our website, hopefully within the next couple days.
Yeah, so again, thanks everyone for logging in, for taking the time. I know it's in the evening and some of you may have some fun things planned, but not us, because here we are. Thanks for sticking around. And again, let us know if you have any questions. We appreciate your time. And until next time, until we see you again.
Hopefully in the fall.
Stay safe. Yes, stay safe.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.